Well, this is Up. I'm David Gura, and I want to go back to one of the tweets President Trump sent overnight from Japan. North Korea firing off some small weapons, he wrote, which disturbed some of my people and others, but not me. I have confidence that Chairman Kim will keep his promise to me, and also smiled when he called swamp man Joe Biden a low IQ individual, and worse, perhaps that's sending me a signal. Well, some of my people, a reference there to John Bolton, the president's national security advisor, who told reporters in Tokyo hours before President Trump arrived in Japan, recent missile tests by North Korea were in violation of UN National Security Council resolutions. The New York Times reports Ambassador Bolton also said, I think Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and President Trump are going to talk about making sure the integrity of the Security Council resolutions are maintained. Here's how President Trump reacted to those missile tests after the launch on May the 9th.
We're looking at it very seriously right now. They were smaller missiles, short-range missiles. Nobody's happy about it, but we're taking a good look, and we'll see. We'll see.
I want to home in on the second part of that tweet in which the president calls former Vice President Joe Biden swamp man and paints a picture of President Trump and Chairman Kim Jong-un having a laugh at the former vice president's expense. Well, Joe Biden's advisors don't know how to respond to what they saw in writing last night. A senior advisor writing this on Twitter: I've been doing digital rapid response for a while, but I honestly have no idea what to do with this. Hallie Jackson joins me now from Tokyo. She's NBC's chief White House correspondent, of course. And Hallie, let's take this tweet in two parts. Let's start with the part about these missile tests, his reaction to them, and how that squares with what we've heard from the National Security Advisor.
Well, it doesn't square, David, as you've explained. John Bolton told the group of reporters here in Tokyo, Japanese-based reporters, that, in fact, those missile tests are a violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions. President Trump appears to be downplaying that in what is a clear reference to his top aide. Might this be strategic, perhaps, an opportunity to allow Bolton to take that more hardline stance and the president to be able to open the door to negotiations? But keep in mind what this does to talks with Shinzo Abe, the prime minister here in Japan. It could really be a point of contention for these two men. The Japanese are concerned. They don't think this is small potatoes about these missile tests by North Korea. As you know, oftentimes the missiles will head right over Japanese territory, right? So this is a major concern for the Japanese, and it is something that likely will come up, certainly will come up in their talks tomorrow. They've been talking today. You heard the president reference, for example, that they touched on trade, the military, other things. But tomorrow we know it's going to be a more formal, what they call bilateral sit-down. So the two leaders, some of their top officials, and there will be a more formal agenda where they'll talk about not just North Korea, but trade and other issues as well, David.
Hallie, you have covered this back and forth between these two leaders, the North Korean leader and President Trump, and we get insights now and then to what the dynamic must be like when they sit down, or they have sat down in the past. What's described in the second part of that tweet, the laugh that the two of them had about Joe Biden, him, according to the president, appropriating one of the president's favorite phrases, low IQ individual? This is pretty astonishing, isn't it?
Right. So it is obviously very notable, David, and I think that's why you've seen, for example, Democrats, Joe Biden's advisors, as you mentioned, come out strongly about this. Biden's team is saying what they've said all along, which is their stance on North Korea, the former vice president's position about this sort of authoritarian, murderous dictator, right? Here's the deal. President Trump is still holding out hope that some kind of a deal with North Korea could end up being a legacy-building moment for him. That has been the thinking, according to our conversations with sources from the beginning of this administration, that potentially this could be the president's signature diplomatic effort on the international front. So he doesn't want to give up hope of that, it seems. You are still hearing, and even from John Bolton, he is still holding out the possibility of maybe talks continuing with Kim Jong-un, even given these more recent missile tests. All along, as you know, the White House's argument for the success of the relationship that the president's been trying to build with Kim has been the fact that North Korea wasn't launching missiles. And that was something tangible. That was something that people could point to. That obviously is no longer the case at this point. But the president, it seems, doesn't want to say, hey, let's extinguish this budding relationship. He really wants this to happen. Now, you talk to experts in the foreign policy field, and they will say Kim Jong-un is thumbing his nose at not just President Trump, but the rest of the international community on this, David.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.